Okay, the House Transportation Subcommittee is now called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Representatives Carr, Darby, Glenn, Harris, Hazelwood, Howell, Marsh, Pearson, Russell, Sherrill, Towns, Vital, Wright, Chairman Whitson.
Here.
Chairman, you've got a quorum.
Members, any announcements or personal orders? Chairman Vital, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to welcome two guests that I have here. Rob Pollard from Hamilton County and Tony Venerbo from Williamson County, executives with Morning Point Senior Living. Although they don't have much to do with transportation, I know they burn up the road a lot, but they do spend most of their time taking care of seniors. And thank you for welcoming them.
Will your friend from Williamson County please stand up? And I want to see you. Are you a constituent? Okay, well, welcome again. The double Williamson County welcome, okay? Any other members? Okay, members, let's jump right into this. And the first item up, item number 1, is by Leader Lambert of Sumner County. Leader, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
We have a motion in a second. And before we get going, I see that we have an untimely filed amendment. Chairman Howe, you're recognized. And can you give us the drafting code?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And yes, I apologize. This is untimely filed, but since this is the last committee, we thought it expedient to try to move this ahead. My drafting code is 15858.
That's what I have. Without objection, will accept the amendment. Amendment makes the bill, correct?
It does.
Okay. Leader Lambert, you are recognized on House Bill 2642.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Chairman Howell's amendment. I think it's wonderful. That's all I got.
Have you had a chance to see it?
So not technically, but it has been verbally described to me. And thank you, Chairman Howell, for working on this. So we began this journey kind of at the beginning of this. I have a constituent, and I've had many folks within the transportainment industry that have come to me. There are a variety of cities throughout the state that have, some of these vehicles available. You've seen them. It's everything from pedal taverns to buses to everything else. It's a relatively safe way when regulated well for folks to come to a tourist destination like Nashville or Chattanooga or Knoxville or Memphis or anywhere else and be able to spend time with their friends in a relatively enclosed and safe area. That's how most of these work. Now, some of them are bad actors and they need to be weeded out. But quite frankly, I was a little displeased with how some of the regulation of that was going at the local level. So the original bill was to completely just take this, have the state regulate this, make sure folks are safe, make sure business owners are being treated fairly. But really what I was looking at was I did not want someone's license taken without due process. I'm an attorney. I mean, that's important to me. I think it's important to all of us to protect people's rights. There are licenses that have been issued throughout this state. And unfortunately, there was word going around that in some cities and that would be truncated down arbitrarily. So what the amendment says is that, look, it's still going to be regulated locally. All the cities still regulate this the way they want to regulate it, and everything's fine with that. But you can't take a license that you've issued without cause unless it's been dormant for 6 months from the time that they petitioned to take that license. Now, what that does is it protects people's property rights. Many of these small business owners have purchased vehicles, they've hired staff, they've taken out loans. I just don't think the state or the city or the county anywhere should be taking away someone's ability to be able to make a living when they've already issued that license and told them they could, again, without cause. That's what the amendment does. To the best of my knowledge, Chairman Howe.
You've described it very well, Leader. I'm sorry. I should have asked for permission to speak.
Well, you're welcome. And Leader Lambert, you and I have had a good discussion on this bill. And, and I'm at the will of the committee, okay? And you know where I am on this. I worry about, preempting a local community. Also, I've always been a big proponent of local control, but I also understand you're concerned about a license is property, okay? And you explained that to me. And, if I had my way, I would prefer that we hold off a year to see what Metro actually does with the numbers. But Chairman Howe has worked with you and others on this amendment. And so let's see who we have. Do we have anybody on the list to speak? Chairman Howe, how about you? Would you like to be recognized?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I respectfully ask that the committee, I know it's late filed, but I respectfully ask the committee to accept this because it's important, I think, for a lot of people.
Accepted.
Without objection. Thank you.
Without objection. Okay.
So I would just add a couple of things here from what the leader said. This does add an administrative hearing. If the city does indicate that they're going to revoke a permit, it adds that level of protection. I think that's something that the leader sought. It also adds a clause that I think made people in the city breathe a little easier about that those permits that have not created any revenue stream for the permit holder for the period of 6 months, then those permits could be considered cause and could be revoked following that hearing. So other than that, it pretty well makes the bill, and we've got to a good place thanks to a lot of negotiation, discussion, and I appreciate everybody involved in helping us get there. Thank you.
Sponsor?
Yes, sir. Only we'll say, I know there's been one city that's been referenced a couple of times, but this applies to every city statewide. I mean, this is, Nashville probably has more of these than any other city as our capital city. But it definitely, I mean, for any city out there that were to issue a license for any of these, and there are, I think Chattanooga has some of the little duckmobiles and some other stuff. I mean, anything that falls within the transportainment realm, it protects every Tennessean statewide. So again, I know we've given it as an example of a specific circumstance here, but it is statewide application. Just wanted to go ahead and put that out there.
And leader, you understand my passion. I was born and raised in this city. I remember when Broadway was completely different. It went through several cycles, good, bad, good, and interesting now that I call it. Actually, my wife bought her Hope chest at a furniture store down on Lower Broad and bought jewelry down at Service Merchandise. Those days are long gone. And I just worry about the city that I was born and raised in. And that's where I'm coming from. And I think you appreciate that. And so members, we need to vote on
Mr.
the
Chairman?
amendment to put it in proper order. Okay.
May I interject? For the members, if you haven't seen the amendment, it is on dashboard. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Excuse me, leader, we're getting organized here. So we need to vote on the amendment to put it in the proper order. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, members, all in favor of putting the amendment as the in proper order, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, members, we are now voting on House Bill 2642 to send to full transportation. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, if you want to be recorded as a no, see the clerk. Leader, your bill moves on to full
Thank you,
transportation.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank y'all.
Hey, good morning. How you doing there, leader? It's an honor to recognize my good friend from Cocke County. You are recognized on House Bill 2729.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I heard a motion in a second.
That's exciting. I'm on my
I
way
show no
hoping to a
amendments.
positive vote.
You are recognized, sir. Please explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, it's so good to be with y'all. When it comes to DUIs, it's a very serious situation. My family has been impacted by a drunk driver. My sister turned 16 years old. 5 days after my sister turned 16 years old, she was killed by a drunk driver. So when I come to y'all with issues about DUIs, it's important to me. We have done some really good strides in that space, and I think we're putting our best foot forward. This bill comes to us on behalf of the public defenders. And I'm not here to defend drunk driving, but I think what we're trying to do is make it to where a person who has their first DUI doesn't have the first DUI doesn't have a mandatory 48 hours. There might be some circumstances that the judge needs in his tool belt to be able to make a decision whether or not a person has the mandatory 48 hours or not. And that's all this bill does, giving the judge the discretion.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Do we have any questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, Speaker, you're recognized.
Thank you,
Speaker
Mr.
Marsh.
Chairman. Have all the Department of Safety and everybody's agreement on this one?
Sponsor?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, sir. And you can be sure the way safety works, they'd come see you if they weren't all right with it.
Speaker Marsh? Okay, thank you. Any other? Seeing none, members, we're now voting on House Bill 2729 to send to full transportation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Bill moves on to full transportation. Members, next up, House Bill 1015. You are recognized on that, sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion and a second.
And committee, I understand if you're paying attention, you realize that the bill's not moved yet in Senate Transportation, but I just spoke with the sponsor and they are going to move this. I'll explain to you why it has not moved yet. This idea did not come to me up until recently. I just got an amendment to write the bill last week. We found a caption bill from Representative Grills to do this.
Before we go on, Kim, we need to get it in the proper order.
Oh, yes, sir. We do have an amendment that writes the bill too.
Yes, it makes the bill. What bill, what amendment number do you have?
14606.
That's what I have. Do we have a motion and second? We have a motion and second on the amendment. All in favor of putting amendment 14606 on House Bill 1015, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendment goes on the bill. Please explain your amendment and the bill, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, is certainly still good to be with you. As we came through our discussions with guns in Tennessee and issues with guns being found in cars, there was a lot of talk about what we can do to keep from the smash and grab taking place where people see cars somewhere, they smash it, they grab the gun. Next thing you know, they've committed a crime. Between Memphis and Nashville, Department of Safety says there was probably over 10,000 guns stolen. Looking into that, a friend of mine who actually owns an impound lot here in Nashville came to see me several weeks ago. He had saw an article, a TV news story about guns and cars. He said, Jeremy, I want to tell you something that nobody's talking about. Lay it on me. He said, I own an impound lot. There are more guns stolen from impound lots than any other place in Tennessee because they know the law does not protect the impound lot owner from being able to remove the gun and put it in a safe until the owner of the car comes and retrieves it and retrieve their gun. He said they get broken into all the time. If y'all would change the law in such a way for us that own lots, if we choose to remove the gun, put it in a secure place until the owner comes, that would save us a lot of headache and a lot of issues. And we think we could get a lot of illegally stolen guns off the street. The bill you have before you does exactly that. It gives the impound lot owner, it does not mandate it, but if they choose, they can remove a firearm from a car or something of value, if you will, and put it in a safe and secure spot until the owner of the vehicle comes and gets them both. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay. Thank you, sponsor. Members, do we have any questions? Okay, Representative Towns, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. This is a good bill. I had no idea.
Don't tell everybody that.
Yeah, this is a really good bill. And but I had no idea once they were impounded that the cars. Well, I guess when they take the car, I guess everything you left is in there, still in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would never thought there were still guns in those cars. Okay, but the criminals know they can smell it out. Okay, and they beating us to the draw. Okay,
Yes,
that's
sir.
good. All right, love to sign on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Speaker Marsh, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And how do they get in the car? Because I'm sure most of them are locked. And you said objects of value also. So that's in the bill also.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaker Marsh, from what my buddy told me, they literally will break the glass and go through the cars.
Speaker Marsh?
But how does the impound lot get into the car and take them out?
the impound lots have the ability to, they use the same technology that people who get into your car legally when you've locked your key in, they use the same technology to put your car in neutral to be able to take it off if they need to.
Speaker Marsh?
And you said objects of value, so that could be a lady's purse
Right.
or,
Anything like that. Yes,
and
sir.
that's in here that they're able to
They
take
can
that.
take things, objects of value. Yes, sir.
Are they gonna go through the purse before they store it?
Yeah. I can't speak to what they're going to do. Hopefully they're not.
Looking for a gun. Speaker Marsh? Chairman Russell, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And when a law enforcement officer tows the car, they're required to fill out a tow-in slip to list all these valuable items and weapons.
Sponsor?
I'm
Oh,
not
sorry.
finished. So does that take any liability away from the law enforcement officer that would list these things on that form, or how does that work?
Sponsor?
Chairman Russell, that's the first person that's brought that issue up to me. From my understanding, the way this bill's written, that we've absolved
You help with
the
that.
impound lot of the ability to be sued for removing,
Could you add a comment?
but evidently legal has thought.
Yeah,
I'll
sponsor,
hush.
yes,
hush.
without objection, we're going to go out of session and listen to our legal. Out of session.
Joel Hayes, Office of Legal Services. Chairman Russell, this bill does not address or change the practices of law enforcement. This is basically just focused on persons engaged in business of towing and storing motor vehicles or those that store motor vehicles that have been towed.
So
Chairman?
a law enforcement officer will not be held liable if something they listed on that tow-in slip is not available to the person that owns the car in a future date?
It would not change the liability that they would have now.
Thank you.
Without objection, we're going back in session, and I think those were good questions. Thanks for bringing that up, Chairman. Leader, last word.
Question on the bill. Oh, wait, I'm not on the committee. Sorry.
Do I have a question on the bill? Did I hear it from, okay, I thought I heard it from somewhere down. Members, we're now voting on House Bill 1015. I'm sorry. Yes, I gavelled this back in session. We are now voting on House Bill 1015 to send to full transportation. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Bill moves out. I'm glad you're here. I heard you were not feeling well earlier, but we were going to keep our committee open till whenever for you, by the way. So at the will of the committee, I would say. Members, item number 4, Chairman Vaughn, you are recognized, sir, our good friend from Shelby County. We have a motion and second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's the first time ever in front of this subcommittee. It's great to be here. I just wanted to come down and look at y'all's mugs. The bill, y'all know that sometimes I'm known for innovative, thoughtful, thought-provoking legislation. And this was one of those bills. But I just didn't know, quite frankly, if this committee was ready to handle it or not. So I just thought, you know what, this might be a great item to be summer studied, Mr. Chairman. But I did want to come down here and tell y'all, thank you for considering it. And actually, in all seriousness, we file bills for many purposes, and sometimes it's to investigate new things. And so this was brought to me by the mayor of one of the towns that I represent. Asked me to get this process going to see what TDOT's reaction to it was. And we're studying this as maybe perhaps a new way of funding for some street overlays in that jurisdiction. And what we've gotten is we've gotten a fiscal note. We've gotten great input from TDOT. So we got a little bit more studying to do before we're ready to bring it back to run. But anyway, that was the purpose of the bill. It served its purpose. And I just want to come tell y'all, hey.
Okay, sponsor, Representative Harris, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. And Representative will actually get a real summer study.
There will, Mr. Chairman, there will be folks studying it. I'm not sure I'll be one of them.
Okay.
Awesome.
Representative Towns, did I see your hand? No, I'm good. Okay. Chairman Howe.
We move this to summer study.
Okay, I just want to, comment on Commerce Committee, but I'll let it go, okay? Okay, well, objection, excuse me. All in favor of sending this a summer study, a real summer study that requires the chairperson there to be there every day, say aye. Oppose? Goes to summer
Thank you,
study.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay, members, next up, we have item number 5, Chairman Keesling. There you are, hiding down there. We have a motion and a second, and Chairman, this is on House Bill 2905, and I see that we have
Got an amendment.
amendment.
Chairman. Yeah, we
What
do.
drafting code do you
That
have, sir?
tracking code is 14171 preceding the 0.
014170 is what
Yeah,
I have.
that's correct.
Okay, members, do we have a motion and a second on the amendment? We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor of placing drafting code or amendment with drafting code 014170 on House Bill 2905, say aye. Opposed? Amendment goes on the
All
bill.
right.
Sir, please explain
Thank
your
you.
amendment and the bill.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Okay, in 22, we passed legislation that set up a grant program for marinas to address public infrastructure. Back then, folks, and are still challenged with infrastructure needs across that. But anyway, it was this fund was administered by TWRA with their assistance. Now, the grant program receives funds a portion from the gasoline tax revenue that they sell, and then that revenue goes on passes on up to the Wildlife Resources Fund. Percentage of that is roughly, just to give you an idea, 0.35%. So the percentage of that fuel is sold on the water. And again, this is gasoline that's sold directly from the marinas. So these grant funds can only be used by or for public infrastructure. And again, more specifically, that's parking areas and public restrooms, things like that, access, ingress and egress roads going in and out of there. So this bill will allow these grants to be administered based on the amount of the gasoline. And and I might add that amendment did tweak it, or we should say there's a minimum of 25 marinas that can participate. I mean, there's a minimum of 25 marinas. What initially I think was occurring is that those funds were evenly divided among several of the marinas, and some didn't even sell gasoline or that limited to that much. So with that, I do have, and I'm looking at your research analyst when I asked this. I was hoping my office requested testimony if we needed it today. Did they do that, Jeremy? If we needed that, I've got Mr.
You
Goforth
recognize
here.
Jeremy?
Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Just forget
Okay, I think you're ahead right now, okay?
it. I know. That's why I say forget it.
Okay.
Thanks, Chairman.
We have a question on the bill. All in favor of sending House Bill 2905 as amendment to full transportation, say aye. Opposed? Bill moves out. to full
All right.
transportation.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Excuse me, I misspoke. It's House Bill is 2095. Okay. You don't have to come back and do it. We got you corrected, okay? So thank you, Chairman. Next up, we have Representative Alexander. You're recognized on item number 6. Do we see her in here? No, we don't. We'll roll that a few spaces here. Item number 7 has been requested to be taken off notice. Item number 8 by Representative Towns. Sir, that is not moving in the Senate. Do you request that to be taken off notice? You're recognized at your desk.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, I'd love to speak to it. I know it's not rolling in the Senate. But I did want to get it on the record again. I know we're dealing with repairing a bridge down there now, but I'm still a proponent of a third bridge in the event that something happens. And so what I will probably do is get a resolution at some point to talk about addressing the third bridge. Now we're going to spend $1 billion for the repair of this other bridge, maybe a little bit more than that. But we got to have a third bridge in that area down there in the event that, God forbid, earthquake or something happens that we don't want to happen in this country. And we saw how bad it was when we just had only one bridge because of the crack that was in that bridge, it slowed down commerce and just life in that area for a very, very long time. And I want to keep it on the forefront. And as I've always said and often say, it's going to cost more money to do it tomorrow than it will today. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to take it off notice, but I'm going to bring it back in the form of resolution, try to keep it at the forefront of the mind of the transportation leaders. Mr. Chairman, thank you, members.
Yes, sir. And Chairman Howell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate Representative Towns and his passion for that. And the bridge is needed, but I would like to remind the committee in our hearing, we heard from TDOT that there is a high likelihood, I don't think that would be out of mischaracterizing, high likelihood that the federal government is going to fund probably at least half of that. And that grant is being applied for by TDOT, which means potentially the state would fund half of the other half, and Arkansas would fund the final part of it. So we're working toward it, and I appreciate your passion for it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Representative Towns, I agree with Chairman Howell, your passion for your city. But this is bigger than just city of Memphis.
yeah,
This is
no question.
Tennessee and the eastern United States, important commerce. And, one of my specialties in the Army was conducting river crossing operations. And I know how important those things can be. So with that, yes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you both leaders. The fact of it is, it's bigger than just that, as well as this is countrywide.
Yes.
Because of the trucks and the commerce, this impacts the entire country. It's that deep. So, but we all on the same page. We're going to figure out how to get there. I just want to, like say, keep it, don't want to go down on the totem pole because there's so many things a priority, but we want to make sure we keep it out there. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Members, we're up on item number 9, and Representative Glenn is, what? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Members, without objection, House, I don't have a number on here. House Bill 1469 is taken off notice. Okay. Thank you, Representative Towns. Members, item number 9, at the request of the sponsor, Representative Glenn, has been taken off notice without objection. Object. Okay. Too late. Okay. That brings us to item number 10. Chairman Howell, you're recognized on House Bill 1607. Do we have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second. Sir, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is the Transportation Omnibus Bill for the naming of highways and bridges in the state of Tennessee. And I have a total of 39 on this spreadsheet here to name roads and bridges all across the state of Tennessee. I will not, except at the request of the committee, read all of those amendments.
Approved.
We'd be here at about 5 o'clock if I did, but they are on the spreadsheet on dashboard if you want to look at that. But I would just ask also that legal roll all of these amendments into one bill.
Okay. Members, we're going to roll all those amendments in one bill. All in favor of rolling those amendments in one bill, say aye. Aye. Opposed? They all go into one bill on 1607. Okay, now we're going to vote to move House Bill 16. What's that? Yeah, we got to move the bill. Did we get it?
We got it.
We're good?
Sorry.
Okay, good. Now, members, we're going to vote to on House Bill 1607 to move to full transportation. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, members, that brings us to item number 11. Chairman Howell, you're recognized on House Bill 1608.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, this is the annual omnibus bill for specialty license plates. Believe it or not, we have 32 on our spreadsheet this year, which is about average. And some of you may not know this, but the specialty license plates is the primary funding source for the Tennessee Arts Commission. It doesn't cost the taxpayers anything as far as taxes, but these specialty license plates help fund festivals in your districts, all sorts of arts and things that go on across Tennessee because of the specialty license plates. Again, I will say I'd be glad to read all these. We'll be here at about 5 o'clock. But if you prefer, I'll ask the legal department to roll them all into one amendment and ask for passage.
Okay.
Chairman.
So members.
Let me also mention, one of the amendments was withdrawn by the sponsor. That's amendment number 14566.
Okay, thank you, sponsor. Chairman Russell, you're recognized.
What was the amendment that was withdrawn?
The amendment was Representative Bricken had to do with Coalmont Park, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Representative Cheryl, oh, you're taking a phone call. Okay. I thought you were waiting to be. Okay, members, we need to put the amendment on House Bill 1608. All in favor of putting the amendment on the bill, say aye. Opposed? Amendment goes on the bill. Members, now we are voting to move House Bill 1608 to the full Transportation Committee. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Bill moves on to full transportation. Good luck there, Mr. Chairman. It's a tough committee.
Thank you. This was a tough one, and I appreciate the support.
Members, we are waiting for, stand by. Members, we're going to take a 5-minute recess while we wait for Representative Alexander. And let this be a lesson too. If you have a bill, always make sure you have plenty of co-sponsors to cover for you if you can't be in here, okay? So members, without objection, we're in recess for 5 minutes. Don't go away.
Summer study.
Okay, our committee's back in session. Do we still have a quorum, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good seeing you there, Representative Alexander. You're recognized on House Bill 141. And do we have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second, and also I show an amendment. Do you show an amendment on your legislation? We'll let you get settled. I know you're just coming.
Who would have ever thought a cell phone bill would have taken so long to present? I am sorry. 014736.
That's what I have. Do we have a motion and a second on the amendment? We have a motion and a second. Members all in favor of putting amendment 014736 on House Bill 141, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendment goes on the bill. Well, before we get there, okay, withdraw. Thank you there, Chairman. We have sponsor, you're recognized on the bill.
Yes.
Please explain your amendment in the bill.
If you drive to Johnson City for 4.5 hours, you're going to come to an exit 57A. And that's the exit that takes you on I-26 all the way to North Carolina, actually all the way to South Carolina. So, but that exit needs to have a sign for Milligan College, Milligan University, which is one of the universities in my town. It is off the same exit at East Tennessee State University is on. And they don't have a sign, but ETSU has a sign. And that university has a lot of sporting events. They're academically ranked as one of the top schools in the state. And they need to have a sign giving directions for people to know how to find them. So that's all this bill does, and I humbly request this.
Okay. Okay, question has been called on the bill. Members all in favor of sending House Bill 141 to full Transportation Committee, say aye. Aye. No? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your patience.
Okay,
on me.
members, that completes our calendar. Let me just tell you, Chairman Howard? Okay. This is the end of our regular calendar. Do any members want to be recognized before we close? Chairman Howard?
Well, that would be me, yes. I thought you had some other comments you wanted to make.
I do.
Sadly, members, as you know, this is Chairman Whitson's last committee, and I'll try not to tear up, but he's been such a joy to work with. And I think everyone agrees that he has done an excellent job of digging holes for bad bills. And
almost.
And he, some of us, including Chairman Vital, thought, what can we do for this outstanding gentleman? And we talked among ourselves and among staff, and it was actually Chairman Vital's suggestion that we buy you a shovel and we all sign it, because we sure when you get home and you're retired, Pam is going to make sure you're out digging in the yard and all that.
Or she may be digging something to put me in.
But I found something that I thought would fit the occasion. So we did find you a shovel. I don't know if you can see that or not. And it says, House Transportation Subcommittee honoring Chairman Sam Whitson's unique ability to bury bad bills while planting good bills and helping them grow. And it's signed by all the members of your committee as well as some staff. So.
Well, I'm going to keep y'all. Okay, I'm going to keep y'all a few more minutes. And what's that, Joe? Well, I'm just going to tell y'all this has been an absolute honor. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You recognize? Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Bring it to you finale.
Look,
And what the leader said, Mr. TV voice over here said was absolutely true. And as some of you may be aware, a lot of us worked around here for a little bit, and you see a lot of different kind of people and personalities. I think the outstanding thing about this gentleman is that he treats everybody really, really well. He treats human beings well. You know, he has what you call that Midas touch when you're dealing with people. I don't care how effective you are with computers or airplanes or games and another. If you don't understand how to deal with people, you'll never get anything done to the level that you want. It's all about people, man. And he's done it effectively. And I hear in conversations as we talk, you know, chit-chatting with each other, you would be a great man to follow in the military. I wouldn't mind following you. You and John Mark, whom I know that you all know we were really tight, but you would be and have been for many others as a good leader, such as you led this committee. And it's hard to find that combination of all these ingredients in one human being, and you do it with class and style. And old folk would say that you are a scholar and a gentleman and a great civic leader. And it pains us to see somebody like you go. You can find knuckleheads everywhere. Boy, I tell you, it's like all the work you have to do for your front yard, your backyard to keep it growing. Crabgrass don't need no help, man. The weeds don't need any help. But we have to have help with the right kinds of men and women to help lead the state in the right direction. We'll be forever indebted to you for what you've done for the committee, for the city, for the state, and for the members here. And Godspeed, and Godspeed. Hopefully this is not the end of your journey. Hopefully you return to some form of fashion doing good in the community. So thank you for what you've done, brother. Okay.
Thank you, Joe. Speaker Marsh, you recognize, sir.
I'd like to ditto what Mr. Towns said. We're really going to miss you, to become a great friend, and best of luck to you and best of health. Love you, man.
Thank you. My sister, you're recognized.
I'm not going to say a whole lot because I could get very emotional. I'm very distressed that my good friend and brother in arms, Sam Whitson, has decided not to run again and represent his district in this body. Is a great loss for his district. It's a great loss for this body. It's a great personal loss for me. I console myself with the thought, knowing that we're still going to be friends, he and Pam and I, regardless of where he is and what he's doing. And it has been, Sam has had the challenge of serving on my committee since he has been in the legislature in finance. This is my first opportunity this session to serve on his committee. And I admired the way he handled it, just like he handles, everything else. He's just a great guy. He is a great example for anybody in the state and beyond. He has served his country. He has served his community. And I know that he has earned his retirement, but I'm really unhappy that he chose to take it. But Sam, we're going to miss you.
Thank you, Patsy, thank you. I've been absolutely blessed. I look at, did you have something to say? Representative Pearson?
I think everybody wants to say something nice. So this only happens once. So
Okay,
you
go
want
ahead.
make sure you get all of the niceness. This is my first subcommittee and one of the best subcommittee I've ever served on. But truly, just like how you have led. I argue and I fight a lot as it relates to a whole lot of legislation in this body. But just the way that you are deliberative and intentional about being a servant leader has been admirable to watch and to witness and to experience. And I remember last year, a bill had come up about somebody being able to take themselves out of taxes or something. And then I spoke, and then you came up to me after and said, "Hey, you helped change my mind on that." And I was like, "It's possible." That like, we don't have to be, stuck in one way of thinking, that it is possible to change and to really be a legislator. And you embody that really well. And so I just appreciate you and thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Members, again, this has been an absolute honor and a privilege to be chairman of this subcommittee. And I look and I see everyone in here is a friend out in the audience, up here on the tables. And I just, I will miss it. I tell people I discovered a sense of purpose and camaraderie that I've not felt since I left the Army over 20 years ago. And I love y'all. I really do. And I'll just never forget, we got, how much time do we have? I just got to tell a couple of funny stories. The first time they had, when I first ran, they had to teach me how to raise money. So they came to my house and they said, you don't know how to raise money. They said, you got to call this guy and ask him for some money. So I said, who is it? They said, a guy named Pat Marsh. So I said, okay, where does he live? They said, Shovelville. I said, okay. So I call and he's out bush hogging. And we talked for 30 minutes about bush hogging when I used to do it. And Pat said, aren't you supposed to be asking me for money? And then one time I get up real early and get here with my good friends in our coffee group. And I looked down and I had on a brown shoe, leather shoe, and a black tennis shoe. And nobody noticed until Chair Lady Hazelwood. And I said, don't say anything. She said, oh, no, I ain't gonna let this go. So she texts my wife, Pam, and said, who dresses him in the morning? And Pam wrote back, their dear friend, my wife loves Patsy Hazelwood as much as I do. And Pam wrote back to Patsy, when he leaves here, all I do is check his buttons and his zipper. So further down. And so anyway, but again, I want to thank the committee staff. We could not do this without you. Our intern, Camille. Where's Camille? We wish you all the best. Joel Hayes, I'm going to talk more about Joel next week. Guys, we have a war hero here, and I am so proud of you and your service, but I'm going to talk more about that next week, okay, if you don't mind. And of course, our clerk, Jack, is it Jack? Yes, where is she? There you are. Thank you for all you've done this year. And of course, they made this, they picked this young lady as to be the House Employee of the Year. And the speaker said, actually, we felt sorry for her putting up with you all the time. But no, her skill is incredible. I see great things for you, Amanda. I just absolutely love you. And we both started the very same day together. And just watching you grow, and I know you're going to continue to do great things. Jeremy, I tell you what, you kept me on track. I'm telling you, I've been chairman for 6 years of this committee, and it's and with the leadership of my good buddy Dan. We one team, one fight, I call it, and I just look at all my friends, my table mate down there on the floor, and it's just been absolutely amazing. I don't want to ramble, but I just want to tell you, and I look at the lobbyists out here. Guys, I could not have done it without you, because y'all, I know you represent interests, but I tell you what, you always think about the state too, and I do appreciate that. And then there's the Department of Safety and TDOT. At times I feel like I'm back as a battalion or brigade commander with the best staff in the world, and y'all are always there with your expert advice. Listen, this committee could not operate without your input. And I don't care what anybody says. You guys are critical to the success of this mission in the state of Tennessee. And I just, and I cannot finish it again without thanking Speaker Sexton. Cameron has been good to me. I think the only other person on more committees is Patsy, Chair Lady Hazelwood. Seems like every time we have a disagreement, I get put on another committee. But I really appreciate Speaker Sexton's trust. But also, I really appreciate who he assigned to this committee. I really do believe this is the best committee in the House of Representatives. And people beg to be on this committee, and because of the people in here. And I just want to thank our speaker for that. It's been a great 6 years. And we had a saying in the Army whenever we were leaving or getting ready for a tough mission. I'll see you on the high ground. Thank you.
Chairman?
Oh, yes.
So I guess this is time for the toast then. There's a toast for you, brother, that says there's some to say old books are best to read. There's some to say old wine is best to drink. But what we say is old friends and the persons of our leader, Whitson, is best to have. May God bless you, brother.
Okay, members. Oh, we got some more business to do. Okay, subject to the call of the chair, we are adjourned. Oh, God, man.